Since 1994, folks have trusted Neptune Radiator and Auto Repair with their automotive needs. From tires to tune-ups, we do everything except glass and bodywork. We're a complete auto care center. We service all makes and models. Let us be your one-stop shop. With over 40 years combined experience, we have ASE Master Mechanics. Call 620-231-5890 and ask for Jeff or Michelle. Neptune Auto Repair, 602 West 4th Street, Pittsburgh.
Hi, everybody. Tom Van Hoy with this edition of the Pitt State Football Showcase, brought to you by Neptune Auto Service. This week with Pitt State sophomore running back Jeff Seybold Jr., 5'11", 208, at Lincoln, Nebraska. Transfer from Nebraska-Omaha when that program suddenly shut down unexpectedly 2 years ago. Players could transfer and be eligible immediately. He played in 8 games for the national championship year for Pitt State, including 58 yards rushing against Delta State at the national semifinals. Then last season did play 2 games before his season ended with a foot injury. Received a medical red shirt, worked his way back into a starting position this year, and opened with 6 carries, 132 yards, 1 touchdown, 80-yard run in Game 1 at home with Northeastern State of Oklahoma, a 45-6 win. Followed that with 15 carries, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns against Central Oklahoma, plus caught 4 passes, 27 yards, and a touchdown as well for 11 yards. Gorillas big that night as well in Edmond, 65-24. Then last Saturday, home, the 59-7 win over SBU, 16 carries, 104 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and runs of 29-3-1. Leads Pitt State in rushing after 3 games, 37 carries, 295 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 yards per carry, and 98.3 yards per game. Pitt State averaging 56.3 points per game, 289 yards rushing per game, 258.7 passing, 547.7 total yards per game so far. Jeff just glad to be back playing after the injury 1 year ago.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It feels great just to be able to run again.
How tough was it sitting out last year for you?
It was real tough. I mean, I'm always one of those players that it's even hard for me just to watch regular college games because I just want to play. But so it was tough, but, I mean, I got a lot of mental reps, you can say.
Have you ever been hurt before?
No, actually, no, I haven't. Not here, at least.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, just from that standpoint, you mentioned the mental aspect of it. I would think that from that standpoint, let alone the physical aspect, that having to sit and having to think about it a lot, that it was one of the first things that you kind of went through thinking about, well, why me and things like that, but it sounded like you did pretty well in your rehab.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody's going to have that why me thought, but definitely, yeah, like I said, I just basically took that time to, focus on the playbook too, and but yeah, rehab was good, made sure I had rehab real strong. That helped out a lot, tremendously.
Just from your perspective and those of us that maybe don't know what rehab is all about, can you tell us a little bit about what you had to do to get back to where you could play? Really, it was working into it slow. I mean, there was a period where I wasn't walking for at least a month. So during those times, there was just a lot of ankle, stretching, getting it loosened up. And then after that, just strengthening it by, calf raises and stuff like that and band therapy. Then once you move up from that, it's mainly just, once you're able to run and stuff, it's slowly getting your agility back and running and stamina. Basically, it's just a build-up process to where you feel you can go, Did you still have some concern until that first game, and I guess that 80-yard run helped out as well, huh?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I played spring ball, which was a surprise for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to be back in time, but being able to do spring ball, I feel, helped me out a lot because that was, I got my first carry timidness out in spring ball. So when summer was ready, so when the season started, I already had, it wasn't like the very first time I put on the pads again, so that helped a lot.
Tom Van Hoy visiting today with Jeff Seybold Jr., Pitt State running back. The Pitt State Football Showcase brought to you by Neptune Auto Service, a So, Jeff, you go 6 for 132 in that 80-yard run against Northeast Oklahoma. Central Oklahoma get 15 carries and then 16 against SBU last time out. So, you like that workload? You like to get the ball a little bit more?
Yeah, I definitely like it. Love it.
From a receiving standpoint, too, you caught 4 passes in one of the ball games. Is that one of the things, too, that you think you excel in? And is that something that Pitt State backs have to be able to do?
Yeah, definitely is one thing Pitt State's backs got to be able to do, especially when they bring pressure with the linebackers. But, I mean, I love receiving. I mean, in high school I was a running back, but I also played a little slot receiver, too. So I love catching the ball. I feel that's one of my strong points.
Can you tell us about this Pitt State offense and how good you think you can be this year?
I think we can be real good. I feel definitely when we have always we have John Brown spreading the field, the defense always is going to do that. And so with that, I mean, more and we have so many weapons on the offense. JB, Gavin, Marquise. You know, you got Tony can run the ball from the quarterback position, and the line is great. I feel we're going to be real good. I mean, I'm real excited to see what we can keep doing.
You mentioned Abinoa as a threat to run the football. Didn't run it all that much last year, and you go back a couple of years, and that's probably what Steve Dickey did best in running the football. How about what he brings in that dimension to the offense and what it can provide for you guys this year?
Rushing wise, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel it spreads it out. Like back when Dickey was here, you know, he was a real good runner too, and now that Abinoa is showing that he can, you know, maneuver and get out and show his speed a little bit, that's good because defense is going to have to worry about that, not only with us running the ball and John Brown, then they got to worry about Tony dropping back for a pass and being able to scramble for, you know, 15, 20 yards. So it's definitely going to be tough defending it.
So you got a block as a running back? You like doing that as well?
Yeah, actually, Pitt State is known for being, you know, running backs downhill and blocking and cutting. And actually, I like it. I mean, I've got a couple cuts in there. I actually like it.
You know, you mentioned the Pitt State running backs, and I broadcast Pitt State football for a long time with some of the great running backs in Pitt State history. And we'll get to how you got to Pitt State in just a moment. But do you have background to understand how good some of the running backs have been at Pittsburgh State, and then obviously how the running game has been so effective for PSU since about 1985?
Oh yeah, that's the main reason, a big reason why I came here, because I knew how good Pitt State was running the ball and how they all, like, just in the history, they've always been a running team mainly. Who is it? Ronald Moore, Jermaine Race, and when you say other running backs, Eric Love, from the championship year, he was a cutting machine. That man could block, and I try to look at how he would go and just go cut somebody, no problem. Try to look at that and focus on that. Try to look up to him like that. Fellow Nebraskan.
How would you describe your style as a running back?
I feel I'm pretty balanced. I'm not the fastest guy, but I feel I can get out there and move, and I also feel I have a little power in me where I can go downhill and, get into the end zone.
How about the running back group as a whole? Dre Holman's been in there, Stephen Sullivan, Brian Poston, and you so far to a certain extent. What are your thoughts on the running back position as a whole and those guys?
I think obviously minusing Solomon Watkins, which would be a big help, but I still feel we are very fast as running backs. Like our core, like Dre, he's a big guy, but he's still moving. He's still very fast, and Stephen Sullivan is definitely just lightning fast, shifty. So I feel that helps a lot.
Tom Van Hoy with Pitt State sophomore running back Jeff Seybold Jr. on the Pitt State Football Showcase, brought to you by Neptune Auto Service. So how tough is to learn that Pitt State playbook?
It's pretty difficult. It's difficult, but once you've been around it for so long, it's really just a lot of, when it comes to difficulty, it's just, all the different formations and personnels we have, It's, the plays are still about the same from the last couple seasons, but besides a few different things in there, but It's the formations, different ways we can run all of our plays is what I love about it.
Has it changed much, the approach offensively, when Anthony Apanoa took over last year? We talked about Steve Dickey and his ability to run the football and what he brought to the table offensively. Has your approach offensively changed very much? I know you played in 2000, or you got a chance to play that year, and has it changed very much, I guess?
Offense, really not much.
Okay.
Like I said, I think there's just a few more different formations where it looks like a totally different play, but just because of the personnel and how we're lined up. But no, not really. Offense is pretty much about the same.
I better ask you about the offensive line up front. How are those guys for you?
Oh, I love it. Love them. They're doing great. I feel that we have a real experienced bunch, and they take pride in their blocking. And we have a great offensive lineman coach, Coach Wells, does a tremendous job with them, getting them whipped into shape. So, I don't have any worries about them at all.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. If folks don't know, you're from Lincoln. You went to Nebraska, Omaha to begin things, and then came to Pitt State. So when you went to Omaha and then they dropped football while you were there, how difficult was that, and did you know anything about it, and how'd that all come about?
Yeah, it was a crazy deal went on there. I still really don't fully know what happened. I guess it was just there's different reasons, but I guess it was for them to make the leap to D1, needed to drop a program or something like that. So, they took away football and wrestling, added some other female sports, I believe, and another male sport or something. But basically one Sunday I woke up, I was back home in the spring, and woke up to all these phone calls saying that there's no more football, and text from, teammates and coaches. Really from there, it was just there's no warning. It was just literally just boom, just happened. Like the wrestling program won the national championship that morning, and then that night at midnight they dropped the program. So it's kind of crazy. They had no idea either.
At that point, what were you thinking in terms of, you want to continue to play football, and I think one of the good decisions was that if you played football there, then you could transfer immediately and be eligible to play. So kind of take us through how things transpired for you to eventually get to Pittsburgh State.
I guess they lifted a little NCAA rule where if people wanted to go D1 and stuff, they could have without having to sit out a year. And for each, not just D1, but anywhere. And so, really, I thought I was done, to tell you the truth. I wasn't sure what was going to happen because it was late in the recruiting process already. People had their, basically the high school recruiting process was already over by then. So I wasn't sure. I talked to Nebraska Kearney because, it's close to home, still in Nebraska. I talked to them, but really after that, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then Coach Beck and Coach Rampy came and saw me and talked to me and went on my visit there and committed. Seen the facility, seen the stadium, of course. Talked with the coaches, liked the offense, liked the running game, and just, came to Pitt. Like the fans, of course.
Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it? I know when people talk about the Division II level and so forth, but from your standpoint as a player, that's got to be an awesome atmosphere to play in at Kearney Smith Stadium.
Yeah, definitely. UNO didn't really have the support, much support at all. But, being from Lincoln, where the Huskers are, I see the town packed every day. And I tell my buddies back home that Pitt State is almost like a little Lincoln when it comes to their fans, because everyone supports it, and the town just goes, just shuts down for the football game. I love it.
Hey, as we do wrap it up here, and most teams that have very good offenses have a swagger to them, a confidence to them, and Pitt State has put some big numbers on the board early, and one game at a time, you got to keep it going. But do you feel like, is this an offense you feel like, when we walk out there, we think we can score about every time?
Yeah, I'm 100% confident that we can score every time we walk on the field, but it just comes down to execution. We have so many weapons that I feel if you stop one's going to shine here in another area, you know what I'm saying? So I feel that's just great and amazing.
That's Pitt State sophomore running back Jeff Seybold Jr. on this week's edition of the Pitt State Football Showcase, brought to you by Neptune Auto Service. Pitt State on the road this Saturday afternoon in Jefferson City, Missouri against Lincoln University. 2 o'clock kick, the first overnight trip of the year for Pitt State. The Gorillas move up 2 in this week's Division II coaches poll, now number 12. Other MIAA teams, Northwest Missouri 3, Missouri Western ranked 6, 18 for Washburn, and 24 Emporia State. Of course, Pitt State does not play Washburn or Emporia a second consecutive year. Lincoln is 1-2, lost at Lindenwood 24-22, then beat Grambling State at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City 47-34, and lost to Missouri Southern last Saturday 59-10, and Southern had 607 yards rushing in that game. Now, after Lincoln, the Pitt State schedule does get tougher. For now, take care of business this weekend. I'm Tom Van Hoy.